What is going on, snipers? Naeem Al-Obeidi here. I hope you're all enjoying your day today. Let's go ahead and just dive right into our daily cryptocurrency content and analytics for today. We're going to be taking a look at price predictions for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tron, Ripple, and some of the other major coins, just to see where these coins are possibly headed over the next couple of days. As today we've seen a short spur of green in the market, we need to verify whether or not this is going to be a bull trap or not. You can see with Bitcoin's technical analysis, we've got this overall pennant forming here with the descending resistance level and this ascending support level. And what's really interesting about what we're seeing with Bitcoin right now, in my opinion, is the fact that we bounced right on top of that ascending support level. And you can see here with the RSI, this is what we've been watching for some time now. We bounced right on top of 30 as we had talked about yesterday, and are now heading past 40 towards these higher RSI levels. What we're watching right now is to see whether or not we can breach 40 here in RSI to start entering into that neutral zone, which is going to initiate a very bullish response for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So knowing that we bounced right on 30, the reason we did so, by the way, is because remember what we talked about yesterday, algorithmic traders, bots, they're already initiated and set up to buy Bitcoin when RSI is at 30. And you can see it's happened multiple times before. The reason we see these immediate spikes is because all of these orders that are coming in are bots making these orders, and that's why we bounced off of that known ascending support level. So that's a very positive thing for Bitcoin. You can see with the MACD, we're starting to see that fast length starting to cross, about to start heading towards that slow length, and that's a very bullish response here. What we want to see is this MACD blue line start to cross over that orange line for us to confirm a MACD crossover to the positive, which would be a very bullish response for Bitcoin. And now moving on to ETH US dollar, you can see here with Ethereum seeing another spike up alongside with Bitcoin, and this is looking at the US dollar valuation. If we were to pull up the ETH to Satoshi valuation, you can see we're seeing a little bit of a difference here. We are seeing an uptick in volume, and we're also seeing a little bit of an increase in price. You can see we're seeing a little bit of buyer volume, but you can tell here with the MACD, we're still well on our way down right now with Ethereum, which is looking a little bit more bearish on the Satoshi valuation. In regards to the USD valuation, we're starting to see this about to cross over. So hopefully this could also start to curve to pass that slow length. But what's interesting about this is we're still below this EMA. So we're going to be watching that EMA for us to go above, for us to confirm anything. You can see with Bitcoin, for us to start going above this EMA right here, which is this red line, would be the most bullish area for Bitcoin to start heading, and then for us to start bouncing on top of that, that EMA would be the most bullish response in my opinion. So looking at the Eurozone turmoil may boost Bitcoin price, experts claim. Very interesting. You can tell here that the Europe and the Eurozone is facing some very, very turbulent times, is the best way to put it right now. And people are expecting money to come into cryptocurrencies, knowing that we're expecting such turbulence in the European countries. You can see it says here, if the euro were to disappear, a new global currency needs to rise up. Bitcoin still fits that picture far better than any traditional currency or asset. And you all have to understand, we're starting to see this market mature. If you pull up the total market, you can see here, a lot of these coins are at discounted prices right now. And in my opinion, we're going to start to see these coins reverse into these higher price levels, knowing that a lot of these coins are at their lows. You can tell, if we go up here, you can see Ripple at 60 cents right now, Ethereum $563, still under 600 US dollars. These price levels are such steals in my opinion. You can see in the past 7 days, the majority of these coins are down. Some coins to pick out of all of these are Zilliqa and Steam, both about 20% down over the past 7 days. In my opinion, we're going to see liquidity flow into these two coins very soon, just like we saw with Icon, as we called out yesterday, seeing 17% gains over the past 24 hours since we made that call out. So high five, traders. We did a good call with Icon. We're 17% up since yesterday. So let's see what the live audience has to say and take some questions. Mike Bitten says, hey, what's up, Naeem? I love your views, watch your videos all the time. Do you know that Tone Vase had exact opposite views as you? What do you have to say about his technical analysis? I have to say that we're both different technical analysts and we both have different opinions. I don't know, Mike, have you seen Data Dash's perspective? He posted a video today talking about his perspective of Bitcoin, and he thinks we're going to 50,000 by the end of 2018. So I'm more so on that side of the coin, not whoever this Tone Vase individual is, which I don't know who they are really, but at the end of the day, Every analyst has different opinions, and in my opinion, we're going to be seeing a lot of liquidity come to this market soon. I don't believe we're going to see further lows beyond the 6,000 price level. I think 6,000 was a good area for us to start reversing, and now we're forming that triple bottom alongside that area. And for us to now consolidate sideways is probably the most healthy thing for Bitcoin right now, forming into this pennant towards the apex. So that's what I would say. Rafa says, you don't think it's a bull trap since it's pumping 20 billion in 2 hours? No, not at all. We've seen this market pump 50 billion in 2 hours, right? 20 billion in 2 hours is no big deal. In my opinion, anytime we see these large buy areas come in, it's typically institutions. But this one was more so algorithmic traders and bots, right? We went right at 40, and as soon as we touched 30, I'm sorry, not 40, 30, we bounced on top. So that shows you that it was obviously automated there. So Bullish Benjamin says, yeah, give us some insider info, Naeem. I don't have insider info. I share the majority of my information with you. But what I will tell you is there are some coins that I'm bullish on over the next few weeks. And I think we can make some big profits with coins like Syscoin, for example. If we were to pull up SYS BTC, let's do a technical analysis here for Syscoin. You can see we saw a little bit of a pop today as well. RSI bounced, double bottomed right here, right around 36. And now we're starting to head up into that neutral zone. You can see with the MACD, we're fighting to start crossing over right now. In my opinion, Syscoin is going to see some new highs sometime soon, as we're following this overall ascending support line. And then in a fundamental sense, they've got a lot of stuff going on for themselves. Claudio Buck 64 says, Naeem, if Amazon buys Encash, what would happen to Encash holdings? I don't see that happening. I think that if Amazon really wanted to create and get into this market, they would create their own cryptocurrency. It'd probably be the most profitable and efficient way for them to go about it. Brad Effley says, best to wait a week for a position in Tron. Seems like it was a sell the news situation. What's your opinion? Well, with Tron, once again, I believe that we should be waiting until after these mainnet launches for Tron and EOS. You can see we bounced right off of that 0.61 on the Fibonacci retracement. We're forming this overall cup and handle. And for us to initiate and confirm that this handle is what's been created here with this downfall, we're gonna have to see a little bit more of higher volume levels here with the buyers coming in. But you can see with this MACD, it's still looking a little bit bearish on its way down, and we are starting to see a little bit of that histogram form up with sellers. And then the RSI is still a little bit high. I wouldn't consider it overbought yet, but I would consider it in the neutral zone. But you can see we're at the lower levels of RSI here where we've formed past support. So unless we breach this known support level, I wouldn't be worried with Tron. But with Tron and EOS, I think there are better opportunities in the market right now, just because we've seen liquidity and attention at these coins. And sometimes you want to go to the coins that don't have as much attention. So that's why I'm kind of taking the attention away from Tron and EOS, especially EOS. You can see we're starting to come right down to that 50-day moving average, and we're still trying to stay above that EMA, but we're still below it. And that EMA is now starting to point itself down, pushing this price level down as well, and it's probably going to converge with that 50-day moving average. So once that happens, in my opinion, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Tron, whether it goes below that 50-day or finds support and starts to trend up. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. But outside of EOS and Tron, let's pull up XRP BTC, because a lot of people have thought about putting positions into Ripple. You can see we drew out this known support level. We bounced right on top of that known support level, which was sitting right around 7,650 Satoshis. We're seeing some moderate resistance right around the 8,500 Satoshi level, and we're kind of trading within this channel right now. You can see this is a channel we've traded in before, dropping below, forming this fractal cup formation, seeing a little bit of higher highs above that 50-day EMA. What I'm watching right now for Ripple is this EMA, this red line here, for us to start to go above that and close a candle body on the daily. You can see we did see that candlestick form a wicks above that EMA, but it never closed the body above that red line. So we're going to wait until we see a candlestick form above that red line, which in my opinion will allow this price level to go above that 50-day moving average and stop seeing resistance, as we've seen here in the past with Ripple. So wait for the resistance to stop within that 50-day moving average, allow it to jump on top of that EMA and start to trend up. And that's what I would say for Ripple. Somebody said, what are your thoughts on the Request Network? I haven't looked much into that project, sorry. Alex Kalut says, love you and your channel. You are the best. Let's go with the likes to 300. Yes, if you guys appreciate these daily live streams, it takes a lot of work, but we love doing them, and we'd love to have a like if you guys enjoy it. Somebody says, giveaway LaCroix. We haven't popped a LaCroix for this video, but we'll pop it right now. Here's our guilt-free soda. If you guys don't know why we drink this, It's literally water, but it's flavored with essence oil apparently. 0 calories, 0 sugar, nothing wrong with it. It's really healthy, and it tastes kind of good. And I say kind of because it's not that good, but it's kind of good. It would be better with a ton of sugar and syrup in it. I'm just kidding. Joshim says, is EOS delaying the mainnet launch? No, there were rumors and FUD being spread that EOS had bugs. That was all FUD. There was other FUD spread about Verge experiencing its 51% attacks. Those have actually been confirmed as FUD as well. And these are all fake news articles, so be careful. Jose says, so Naeem, will the mainnet launches not be a catalyst? You know, I would be a little bit careful at this point. I mean, I honestly wouldn't be comfortable with having a position prior to mainnet launch because we're kind of in a weird position here, right? The market's overall going to start going up, but at the same time, we've already seen EOS and Tron see some exuberance. And then not only that, you have to remember buying the hype and selling the news. So we're in this weird position, right? We've got this inverse thought process occurring right now where we're almost like going up in one direction, but then there's this other opinion that's showing us that we're going down. So it's kind of a position in which, as a trader, if I'm uncertain, my mentor taught me this, he said if you're 1% uncertain, you're 100% uncertain. So if I'm 1% uncertain, I'm 100% uncertain. That's why I'd rather say you are better off with other coins and positions. Like yesterday we talked about Icon, now we're 17% up. Who caught on to Icon and then rode that wave? Say I on the live chat if you're able to catch that wave with Icon. I think the next wave we'd see is with Zilliqa again. I know Zilliqa was initially a coin that was trending up once we saw most of those altcoins going up, but then when we saw the crash, obviously it crashed down. But I still think it needs to go above $1 billion in market cap, so I still see some time there. John Cool said I, Vince C said I, Hollywood said I, William and RF Dusty said I. Good job, all of you, making money on Sniper's Tube. Good job. Let's see here. Product says EOS is better than TRX. What about a position in Cardano? So Cardano releasing their first smart contract on their testnet. Very, very good for them. In my opinion, Cardano is very undervalued right now. I think just the same way we saw the exuberance with EOS, once we started to build up hype towards that mainnet launch, I think that's going to happen for Cardano. You can see we're entering this accumulation zone. We saw a very sharp increase in volume and price with Cardano in comparison to the majority of coins in this market. What I would tell you right now is it seems like Cardano is most poised to go above this red EMA right now and start a true reversal pattern and trend up. And that would be interesting because you can see here with the MACD, I think the most bullish chart right now is Cardano in this market. And that's just my opinion. You can see MACD, beautiful seller histogram with negative divergence showing a overall consistent amount of sellers being exhausted from the market. This blue line right here indicating the fast length of the moving average convergence divergence starting to curve up. You can see here it's looking like it's about to start curving up and then hopefully going towards these higher price levels, surpassing that orange line, which is the slow link, to initiate that MACD crossover. If you want to wait for a confirmation, wait for the MACD. But in my opinion, we're about to start trending above that EMA, which is going to take us to higher price levels. The volume spike is what I like most about Cardano right now. And then also seeing that the RSI bounced not only at 30, but under 30. It touched 29 before seeing that bounce. And it pierced through 40. So those are all very bullish indicators. So no other coin we saw today has already done all of those things, but Cardano. You can see we pierced through 40, which is a very bullish sign, because that means we've at least entered this neutral zone. What we're most likely going to see is this RSI, see a little bit of a retracement back, go up, bounce on top of that 40, and start its trend up. So hopefully that's what we see with Cardano. It looks very, very undervalued. And what I'm expecting is a cup formation starting to form here. So I wouldn't be surprised for this to start forming like this. And it looks like we're at the bottom of that cup. So looking very, very nice and bullish here. Chris says, are you long or short at this point in time? I'm very long on this whole market. William Sanchez says, is Binance supporting the EOS and TRX mainnet launch? From what I know, yes. Silver Fox says, big love from Ireland. Thank you. I actually have an individual in New Zealand flying me out to New Zealand to teach him and his partner cryptocurrency. So it's going to be interesting to teach them how to trade in person and then also visit New Zealand. So shout out to our New Zealanders. He says, ICO and ADA, quick view on using Tether as liquidating platform during markets dump. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Tether a lot, and Tether has always been a reliable source for a hedge against the coins, and so there's nothing wrong with Tether in my opinion. George says, Naeem, Coinbase added 500 new employees hired by the end of May. EOS TRX mainnet this week. Any thoughts? All of those things seem bullish to me. That's what I like. Let's see here. Mr. T says, what's up, Naeem? Kevin D says, stop listing amounts. That's not smart. Amounts of what? Kay says, what do you think of Theta now it's listed on Binance? Not so familiar with that project. Philip says, love your vids. Thank you, Philip. Thank you for watching. Let's see here. Any other good questions here before we wrap up this live stream? I wanted to definitely go through some of these coins here. We'll actually pull up TRX BTC here. I want to show you guys something here with Tron as well. Knowing you bounce off that's 0.618. 0.618 typically acts as a very strong support level. If you guys are initiating positions in Tron, I would set up a stop loss at that 0.618. I want to make that clear. And then with EOS and BTC, understand Tron and EOS are probably the higher risk trades in this market right now, knowing that mainnet launch is due to come, and we just don't know what to expect after that mainnet launch right now. But with EOS, if we were to pull up that Fibonacci retracement, just so you guys have an idea of where to set up stop losses, I'm actually going to go ahead and teach you how to use the Fibonacci retracement. You go to the top of the wicks all the way to the bottom of the wicks of the time frame that you want to look at, and that's going to give you an accurate fib count. So we're going to go ahead and just draw it out right here so we have an accurate fib count here. So you can see here, if we were to pull this up, I'll actually go down a little bit lower here to this past support level, just because we can get a little bit of a better view here. And what you want to sometimes look for is where the price levels are respecting the Fibonacci line. So you can see this is actually a very beautiful area here because we're respecting the Fibonacci quite well. We're bounced off the 0.38, saw resistance at the 0.5. What I would say with EOS is setting up stop losses at the 0.38 would be the smartest decision, which is right around 144,000 Satoshis. So that's where I would set up stop losses for a coin like EOS. Ernie says, are you excited on any ICO or non-mainstream coins? Syscoin, there's actually one called Spective that I've been looking at recently, and they have an awesome team. So I'll have to look a little bit more into it before talking about it, but that's just one right off the head. Rafa says, when do you think it's a good entry point for fiat to Bitcoin? Should I wait for a pullback? I started dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, like I said yesterday. I was dollar cost averaging as we were headed towards that 30 in RSI. So I was able to reap the benefits of this little bounce. And now the question is whether or not we're going to get above that EMA and start to see any sort of bullish response with Bitcoin to hopefully start trending back up towards the resistance of this pennant, which would take us to price levels of around 10,000 to see resistance there. It would be very healthy. Maybe consolidate a little bit down to around 8,000 and then bounce back and forth in that apex, approaching the end of that apex for us to squeeze ourselves out of this apex. That would be the ideal scenario. If you pull up the 4 hour on the MACD, you can also see it coincides with that prediction. You can see we've got this positive divergence forming here with the MACD fast length, and then you can also see we've got this negative divergence here forming with the fast length as well, forming this overall pennant. We're entering the end of that towards the apex, which, as we all know, is the area in which you typically squeeze and see higher price levels. So everything is looking bullish in that regard for Bitcoin. I'm still very bullish on this asset class, and I do expect it to see and test 10,000 sometime soon. Crypto G says, how do you pull up that view? I just clicked this chart and I double clicked. And let's see if we've got any other questions here. Brian Relly says, when do you think Bitcoin price will be independent of altcoins? I think it'll take a while. We just need to see more USD to altcoin pairings, and I know Bittrex and Binance are working on that right now. We're going to see new stable currencies come out like USDC, which is going to be backed by actual US dollars from a bank, right? It's being created by Circle, which is backed by JP Morgan. That's going to be a very interesting thing to see in this market, knowing that we don't really have a stable currency yet that is truly backed, at least with audited proof and stuff like that. The bro says, bro, can you do XRP again real quick? Love you, babe. Okay, fine, we'll do XRP again. Well, what I talked about with XRP is we're consolidating within these resistance levels of around 8,500 Satoshis down to the support around 7,700 Satoshis. And what I would say with Ripple is, knowing that Ripple is known to consolidate before seeing parabolic run-ups, you can see it looks like we've triple bottomed here at this support level. And I think at this point, dollar cost averaging into Ripple with a stop loss at around 7,500 Satoshis is a smart idea. Also, if you pull up this one-day chart, you can see here with Ripple, the consolidation is a little bit clear, but we also have this overall ascending support line starting to form. And I think that we might start to respect that, which would be interesting to see with Ripple. And then looking at the RSI, we bounced off of this area, triple bottomed right at around 37, and now we're well on our way up in that neutral zone. Nothing wrong with being in that neutral zone. And then with the RSI, you can see we're fighting to cross over, but it looks like we've already pierced through that slow length, and it's looking like we're about to head back towards that higher direction. Sellers obviously being exhausted. Everything is looking quite bullish here for Ripple, in my opinion. For more confirmation, I would wait until we're above that 50-day moving average. So that's what I would say. Somebody says, Naeem, all these coins look the same TBH. I think the main target is BTC only. Well, if you're just now coming to this market, it's probably best for you to start trading one coin and then getting familiar with that coin, because coins have rhythms, right? When I first got into this market, I knew Bitcoin and Ethereum's rhythm because those are the two coins that I traded. Until I started trading other altcoins, you have to start getting familiar with these coins. Each coin has its own rhythm, right? Do any of you traders feel that way, by the way? Say it in the live chat if you do. Say I, if you guys feel like there are rhythms with coins that you can kind of understand if you're experienced in trading that one coin, right? Do you guys feel that way? I do. Vinci says I, Emex says I, Ernie says I, Ashkin says I, Shyman says I. Everybody's saying I now. Belief Coin says I, High Vibes, Chris Koss, Lars, Gabriel, Jacob. Everybody's saying I. Jose says I thought it was just me. Trey says I. All right, awesome. Richard Garcia says absolutely. Good. Hamburger Helper says, well, Naeem, what up? Indian Crypto Guru says, when do you think we all become crypto millionaires? Well, I think you should just hodl if that's the case. I definitely believe we'll see more liquidity flow into this market. And yes, it might sound crazy. Oh, we're all going to become millionaires. This market's going to go to all new highs and we're all going to make a ton of money. But at the end of the day, institutions used to do this to us all the time in Wall Street, right? They would get into these pre-IPOs and they would get into these private sales before this asset class is even on the NASDAQ or the general stock exchange. And they would get these super low prices and then they'd make hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, if not billions of dollars, depending on what they invested, just because they were able to get in early. And this is just the first time a market has emerged where Wall Street has not come into this market yet, but Main Street has come before Wall Street, right? So it's really cool to be in a market where we're not necessarily alongside all of these institutions and these big cash investors yet. It's just retail investors and the majority of Main Street, right? So it kind of puts Wall Street in this weird position because now when they put liquidity in this market, they're going to make a lot of us a lot of money. But guess what? They've got no other choice, baby. Isn't that awesome? Like the video if that excites you. Likes are going up now. That was good. Joshua says, Naeem, have you looked into Turnio 1-2 million TPS? Haven't looked into that. I'm sorry. Rafa says, if you have 10,000 and have to pick only one coin for a quick flip, what would it be? I think that's the stupidest thing you can do. I would diversify that 10,000, right? Take 2,500, put into Bitcoin, 2,500 into Ethereum. Now you're left with 5,000. Divide that amongst the top 10 within, let's say, $1,000 increments, and then divide that amongst the top 20, then the top 30, and then create a properly allocated portfolio, right? Just don't be blind in this market. Set up proper entry and exit points. Set up stop losses. Automate those stop losses, right? Especially if you're putting in multiple trades, you need to be able to manage those trades, right? So there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just putting $10,000 into this market blindly, because guess what? A trader like me is going to take that right out of your pocket, straight up. Diversification is for idiots, Mark D says. Well, you're calling Ray Dalio an idiot, you're calling Warren Buffett an idiot, you're calling Charles Munger, and I can just go on and on and on, but absolutely not. The majority of great investors are diversified for the long term, right? Especially in an emerging market. Yes, you can day trade and swing trade and make money, but at the same time, you should have a long-term portfolio if you truly believe in this technology. Ernie says, are you fasting Ramadan? I am actually on an intermittent fast right now, surprisingly, but I do drink water just because my body loses water really fast, so I need the water. Emex says, Naeem, double smackdown. Somebody says, Nano was so cheap. Yeah, we talked about Nano recently. Mark D says, Warren Buffett is against diversification also. Mark Cuban. Actually, no, they're not. If you read their stories, they're very diversified. Ray Dalio actually says in his book, if you don't have a minimum of 20 asset classes in your portfolio, you're not properly diversified. He actually has a chart in his book as well, sitting right there on my nightstand. and he talks about how the more diversified you are, the more your risk comes down, and then you have the opportunity to make profits, and that goes up. And like there's a certain area where it's this ideal ratio. I think it's like at 21. So when you have 21 different asset classes in a portfolio, it's the most diversified. And then there's funds of funds and things like that where you can get even more diversified, but let's not get into all that. Ernux is best channel by far. Thanks. Appreciate it. Crypto G says, when you finally play with house money, it's way better than you can diversify. Here's what's going to help all of you. If you guys are new traders, I like that this individual just mentioned house money. This is the best way to trade this market if you really want to trade. For example, you put in $100 in Bitcoin, it turns into $200. Take your $100 out. It's called your initial investment. And now you're playing with $100 that are in the market, but it's not your $100, right? It's not your initial investment. And that's called house money. So then you can start accumulating free coins. Take your other $100, put it into another coin, wait for that to go to $150, and then take out your 100 and leave your 50, and then those are free coins, right? And just keep creating a portfolio with free coins. That's the best method, right? It's called enter and exit. Enter low, buy in the red, sell in the green. So these past few days were red. That's why I said we should start dollar cost averaging, and now we're seeing a little bit of green. Is it a bull trap? It could possibly be a bull trap, but for the most part, RSI bounced off 30, oversold levels. Every time it's bounced off of 30 in the past, we've at least seen it go up to 40 or 50 in RSI. So for us to go to 40 and 50 in RSI, that's almost guaranteed that we'd be past 8,000 price levels. So I'd highly expect that. You can also see the next known resistance and support's going to be around 7,900. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not we can breach that. But yeah, hopefully this is helping you out. Chris Costa's name, I feel for the house money meme a year ago. I always cash out even house money when I make profit. Let's see here. Right now we put $100 and get out with 50. Get rich said. Not if you're playing the market properly. Crypto G says, but you need to make what you lost. Once you above what you lost, then you good. Awesome. Monster Republic says, we need a session on stop losses. Stop losses have been around for decades. You can definitely Google that and learn stop losses. KNX says, I have all my net worth in Bitcoin. That is awesome. Great. Lars says, BNB versus KuCoin. I'm actually stocking up on KuCoin shares as well. I'm very bullish on the Binance coin over the long term, especially with consistent coin burns, but I think the KuCoin shares are quite undervalued as well. And I think KuCoin is eventually going to become a very strong competitor to Binance, and it's really the only known competitor right now in my opinion. Something that has a nice UX, nice user interface, has a very efficient exchange, has a great trading platform. I think that the Binance and KuCoin platforms are the two best right now, and that's why I'm invested into the KuCoin shares, because we understand, you can see here with the KuCoin shares, let's pull it up. We're looking at a market cap of around, let's see here. Looks like our market cap's at 33 million. So a long way to go. Rank number 252. So I'm stocking up on KuCoin shares as well as Binance coins. So yes, hopefully this has helped you all out. Hamburger Helper says, I agree, KuCoin is the second best. Crypto G says, Naeem and LaCroix partnership. Yes, hopefully soon. Yes, so hopefully this live stream has helped out. We went through the majority of TA that we wanted to go through, and I appreciate all of you tuning in today. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to see some of you guys on our Discord. If you don't know, we have a free trading community. It's a 24/7 cryptocurrency community with analysts there 24/7, and it's called our Discord. I highly recommend all of you get on our Discord. The link is in the description. So we'll see some of you in our Discord right over here. And with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Let's see here. Kevin says, I doubt Bitcoin will go up like that, but that's just me. Well, we all got different opinions, and it's going to be interesting to see where the market goes. I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. I still believe the institutional money is coming in. I'm glad we're seeing a green market today, but this is just a start, in my opinion, to the next swing high. Because remember, we already swung high once, swung low, swung high, swung low, and now it's just a matter of when are we going to swing back up. So, Get Rich says, great show. Thank you. Thank you. Jose Saldana says, thank you, Naeem. You're very welcome. Vince says, thank you. You're very welcome. Chris Costa says, I'm bullish too, Naeem. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that Data Dash is bullish, right? Nicholas is a close friend of mine who has one of the largest crypto YouTube channels, and he just made a video saying his prediction is 50,000, and I love that, right? I love seeing the community come together with positive sentiment, positive news, positive vibes, because that's what we need for us to see the true mass adoption of cryptocurrencies. And with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. And until our next live stream, we do this every single day. At least we try. Snipers out.